Microsoft, you can tell just from the direction that they're going, and a lot of their recent conferences, that they're going all in on AI. They're trying to get AI into absolutely every part of their business, their product strategy. They're very invested into it. And we've seen instances of AI being incorporated into Office, PowerPoint and Word and email, the whole Office suite getting AI integration. And it's generally, just assistant integration. And then obviously with their, development side with GitHub and Copilot integration, they've got sort of assistance with code and writing our code in VS Code and different tools like that. So that's the current landscape, and that's what it's been so far. But some interesting news came out this week you can see the direction that they're going, and they're going way more into it than that. They really want to integrate AI deeply into the operating system. What they're doing is they're building. Currently, it's not available on all Windows machines. I think it's just their new laptops with specific Snapdragon processor, but they're working with Intel and AMD to bring out variants that'll work on normal PCs too. But really what this means is that they're calling it Copilot Plus PCs. And on the surface, it seems pretty good. They just adding more AI integration to a lot of the products, and they showed a few simple examples, like, the classic Windows Paint. You can now sort of draw a fuzzy picture, and there's a side panel, and you can ask it to, turn that fuzzy picture of a turtle into an actual, a really good image of a turtle, and it'll do that for you. Or
interesting.
Put a photo there and say, redesign this photo and make it look like an 80s, movie, star or something. So kind of integration like that. But there's one thing that they're adding, which is really the main feature of this, and it's called recall. And what recall is, well, try and explain simply. What it's basically doing is taking screenshots consistently of all the work that you're doing on your computer, saving that to an index stored locally on your machine, and then using AI to analyze all the data through it. It's going to analyze all the screenshots, pull out all the information it can out of that, and then store that within an index too. So what they're claiming and what their use cases for this are is that you'll then start being able to, ask Copilot information about the work that you're actually doing. Like, what file was I working on last week? And I think I had a meeting scheduled that I, was writing out an email to, and I think I discarded that email. Can you bring that email back? And I'll bring it back for you. It's basically like a full history. I think it goes back 3 months of everything that you've done on your computer. They even showed examples of you being able to sort of walk through that as a timeline. So you can sort of imagine looking at your screen, a timeline bar at the top that you can drag back and forth over time. And you'll just see screenshots sort of showing where you were in that process of time. So it's really just a full-on recording device of everything that you're doing.
So you're getting total recall, but not with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why they're calling it recall. It's an interesting bit of tech, right?
Yeah, I'm curious that if some of it isn't just more of a salesy type of thing. I mean, great, you're using neural networks. It's AI integration. That seems to be the hot topic. So whether you have AI in there or not, it's just a better processor. And using those terms make it sound more sellable. I'm curious how much of that comes into play. Like, is there any really difference between just improvement of the processor with better, architecture? So I'm wondering how that works. But as far as the recall, I mean, it's definitely interesting to keep all that. It's like a timeline. Yeah. Google follows you with maps or whatever, and it has a history. So the more history you have of what you've been doing can better inform whether it's ads or something else. So I think there's definitely value to that, but obviously there's a big brother aspect of it as well. So I'm sure people are going to be either bothered by it if you have an interesting history and screenshots to show, or if you don't.
It is interesting too. I was looking at some of the specs of those machines, and things like the RAM is pretty high for some of the different models. And you do think, what have they planned in the future? Where I see this going as well is if you have some form of training or referencing through everything you're doing on your operating system, and you have a personalized model in the future that understands that, and it can be tied back into your actual operating system, it's going to be so much easier to be able to ask for help with something, or almost automate it. There are lots of exciting possibilities.
I guess this is the first phase of this, and the use cases are pretty simple, but really what they're building out is a full, indexed database of everything that you do. And there's got to be a lot of, new functionality that they could build out that could add on to that. It's basically just analyzing everything that you're doing. And because our lives are now, almost everything that we do is through our devices, it really is capturing all our entire lives almost. So it's interesting to see where they go with that.